الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون صدق الله العظيم. The bayan or discussion regarding the tafseer and detailed explanation of the 21st ayah of Surat al-Baqarah is going on. We will try to cover whatever details we can. Part of the creation of insan, of this human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in this ayah, or commands all of humanity in this ayah, to worship Him, because He's the Rabb of everything, including the Rabb of humanity, the Rabb of mankind. And the first and foremost aspect of being the Rabb of everything is that He is the sole creator. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only being who has created everything, and He has created all of humanity as well. Some portions of takhliq, of creation, we already went over just the physical aspects. There are many elements that we have not gone over, and these are things that are quite abstract, but they're very important points. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us human beings not just this physical form, but there are various elements to our human existence. You have this jism, this physical body. It can do so much. But behind this physical body, there's also a ruh. There's also a soul. And that is the life essence of keeping this body moving. Without this soul, without the ruh, this body is nothing. No matter how strong we may be, how intelligent we may be, how powerful we may be, if you take the soul out, we're made useless. There's nothing we can do. So this ruh, this soul is also very, very important. But the reality of this ruh is that we know very little about it. This ruh, it is the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. They ask you about this ruh, the soul that keeps you alive. Tell them this ruh is from the amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This ruh, it is from a very, very spiritual realm. A world that is known as the world of souls, the realm of souls, عالم أرواح. And in this realm, there are certain points. There's very little we know about it. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. There's very little that we know about the ruh. What we do know about this ruh is that first of all, it doesn't age. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all of the arwah at one time, and they're still there now. And those who have passed away, their arwah have gone back, they're still there. We don't age. The ruh, it doesn't age. What is also clear that the ruh is not limited in time. And sometimes when we go to sleep, in our sleep a portion of the ruh goes. And what is there that we haven't seen in our dreams? Sometimes we're in Jannah, sometimes in second Jannah, for those who know that story. Sometimes we go in the past, sometimes we go in the future, sometimes we go in various aspects and various parts in the ruh, in the dream. Some dreams are from the ruh, some dreams are just from our thoughts. But what is clear is that this ruh does move. How it moves and what it does, we don't know much about it. But it is so powerful that it keeps us alive. Without it, we are nothing, we're finished. There are aspects to our human existence that because of the ruh, we're able to understand that they exist. One very important point is the aspect of nafs. We can go into many categories. We'll just explain nafs and then we'll try to move on, because if we try and go too detailed in this ayah, we might spend the rest of the year on it, but let's try to just minimize the discussion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created us human beings so that we may be able to use this earth. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the malaika or the angels that I'm going to make my vicegerent on this earth. What is clear is that we were created to use this earth and to make use of this earth. And for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us all of the tools necessary to take full advantage of this earth and all of the things related to the earth. From the very beginning, day one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encoded in the very nature of Adam alayhi salam the knowledge and the ilm related to the names of things. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Inshallah, when we get to that story, we'll go much more in detail related to what that means. But from the very beginning, Adam alayhi salam, he knew the names of the items of this earth. And not just the names, everything is in a name. How many difficult aspects, difficult concepts, and very vast meanings are contained in one name or one word. I say car. But now if I don't know the word car, just imagine how I'd have to tell you what a car is. That thing with 4 tires and 4 doors. Subhanallah. Home, house. These are words. These are names. What is in it? Trees, grass, mountains. We have so many names. And we have given these names to the things of this earth. This is a unique aspect to humanity and human beings. The animals, they don't do this. You don't find a dog coming to you and telling you the names of things. It doesn't happen. You don't find other animals and other creatures. They may even pick up a name by mimicking you, but they don't understand what they're talking about. But as human beings, when we say a name, what is contained inside that name? And from that, we start to extract what that particular item can be used for. Look how far we have come as human beings. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encoded this inside the very nature of every human being. Along with that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created inside each and every human being a nafs. And the very nature of this nafs is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala automatically put in the very hard drive of this nafs what is good and what is bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. What are crimes and what is righteousness? Every human being knows. Naturally. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by the nafs and all of its proportions. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Then we inspired this nafs so that it knows what are crimes and what is righteousness. Irrespective of language, irrespective of culture, irrespective of geography, irrespective of ethnicity. Go anywhere in the world. Murder is murder. Oppression is oppression. Cheating is cheating. Being a crook is being a crook. Theft is theft. You can go on a world consensus. They'll tell you what are the most corrupt nations with the most corrupt leaders. They have a list. It's unfortunate that we find the names of Muslim countries there. Very unfortunate. But this is human consensus. Even a criminal will tell you what he's doing is wrong. Even a criminal, he will tell you that what he's doing, don't do that. But this is across the board. You go anywhere in the world. It is in the very nature of this human being to understand what is right and what is wrong, irrespective of where in the world we come from and what culture we come from. Even if something is wrong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it such that we human beings can automatically recognize it. And what is righteousness, we also recognize. Everyone recognizes self-sacrifice. Everyone not only recognizes, but appreciates philanthropy, helping human beings, charity, charitable works. The whole world accepts this. This is not some abstract concept or related to some specific religion. Everyone understands what sacrifice is, what is righteousness. We understand people who give up this world. What is self-righteousness and purity? We can find it. It is irrespective of religion or irrespective of ethnicity or ideology. These are human traits that are very, very common across the board. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inside every human being, in this nafs, He has created three very unique and distinct qualities. And these are also given names in the Quran. The first one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has named in the Quran. We'll give the names first and then we'll go into the details. First one, Nafsul Mutma'innah. Nafsul Mutma'innah. That is that soul which is very content. It is like very angelic, very pure. The second nafs is called Nafsul Lawwama. It's called Nafsul Lawwama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by this nafs in the Quran. It is that nafs that when you do something wrong, it kicks in. They call it conscious or whatever they call it. It comes in and tells you what you did is wrong. You start to really regret it. That regret is coming from Nafsul Lawwama. And that is why it's so powerful and so beautiful and so unique that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even swears by it in the Quran. لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة. And the third trait in nature or quality of this nafs is called Nafsul Ammara. And Nafsul Ammara is very animalistic. It is that nafs which runs after desires, it runs after the material things of this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the nafs with these three very distinct qualities. Why? So that we're able to take full benefit of this dunya, full benefit of this world. None of these are good and none of these are bad. This one is good and this one is, it's one nafs. Okay, how we utilize it? Yes, it can become bad, it can become good. There are good aspects to this if they are used in proportion and if they are kept in limits. Any one of these that go out of limits, they can become blameworthy. And they can even become destructive. Coming to the first one. Nafsul Mutma'innah, that soul or that characteristic of the nafs, that quality of the nafs that is always seeking contentment. It is always trying to find a perfect world, utopia, nirvana. There are so many funny names for it, Everyone is trying to seek that contentment. Everyone in their own mind and in their own world, they have a utopia, a perfect world. You ask any human being, this is what they're working for. Especially when you get to adulthood, The whole future of yours is how can I make my world, this world, Jannah. Why? Because we want that contentment. We're looking, everybody, regardless of religion, ethnicity, whatever you're looking for, everyone is looking for that Jannah. Everyone is looking for that contentment. Everyone wants to be happy. Yes, our ideas of how to get there is different. Everyone has their own. Somebody says, if I make a lot of money, so I'll be happy. Go ask the people who have money. See how many of them are truly happy. Many of them are still addicts to drugs or alcohol. They try to wash away their pains. Some think that if I get fame, I'll be happy. Some say, if I get a certain degree and position, I'll be happy. Everyone has their own idea of what is happy. How to get to that happiness. Okay? But everyone is seeking the same thing. It's like all of us are going in the same direction towards happiness, but we're just going in different cars. Some are driving trucks and some are driving fast cars. And everyone is going in the same direction. Everyone is looking for that happiness, that contentment. How I can... Because this is the actual struggle of us human beings, what we're struggling for. We're trying to get that angelic life, that itminan, that peace of mind. And the reality is that the vast majority of us are looking for that peace of mind in all the wrong places. So instead of getting a peace of mind, we make it's like you have a rash, and you think that the more you scratch it, the better it'll get. But the reality is the exact opposite. The more you scratch it, the worse it gets. And we think that if you scratch it harder, it'll get better. It gets even worse. This is what we're struggling for. We're trying to seek the happiness in all the wrong places. Yes, if this is kept in limits, it's very good. If it is kept in limits, very, very useful. And I'll come back to the use and misuse of these later. The second quality. Let's go to the third one, then we'll come back to the second one. The second one is the animalistic desires, nafsul ammara, which is the third one I mentioned. We're explaining it in this aspect. The animalistic desires, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created them and then has made this world a deception. Without it, we will not have any progress in this world. We will miss out on the main purpose for which we were created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to make use of this dunya, to make use of this world. If we don't have these desires, so no one will think of progressing. Everyone will just calculate that in 1 month I only need these many dollars to eat food and that's it. Nobody will go to work after that. What a world we would live in, if only, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created these desires inside the human being. Within limits, they're very useful. Once they get out of control, they're very, very destructive. But these desires are there so that as human beings, we're able to live in this dunya. We're able to benefit from this dunya. We're able to also benefit the dunya. There are many who work in their life. They hardly make a life for them. Their desires are limited to them. They only think of themselves. There are many who work and their desires are also not just them but their children. So they build a life around them where their children can also benefit. But there are some, a very unique, distinct few, who not only care about themselves, not only their children, but they think of the whole society. And their desires and their aspirations are so massive, and their vision is so far, that when they build something, they're not building for today or tomorrow, they're building for 100 years for the whole of society. And because of them, look how far the world has come. Good or bad, forget religion and ethnicities and all of that. Just look how far we have come, where we have come. And there are only select few, visionaries. Some become famous, others people don't even know who they are. They don't care about fame. To them it's about how can I build something that will change the world. And they do it. This is how powerful and beneficial this third quality can become. There's also harms to it, and we'll go into that later. Coming to the third attribute, or the third quality of the nafs. Nafsul lawwama is that nafs that causes within a person to be blamed and then to recognize that blame and then try to strike a balance. It is that nafs that keeps the other two. It is that quality that keeps the other two qualities in check and equilibrium. As human beings, we are created that everything should be in equilibrium. Everything should be balanced. Anytime there's imbalance, we have a problem. Too much sugar, you're diabetic. Too much salt, you have blood pressure. Anything out of balance, even in the physical body, problems start. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this quality in the nafs also. Too much itminan and too much seclusion from the world, problems start. Person is always fasting, always praying, not meeting with anyone. He becomes this closed out person. In some sense, he's benefiting himself, but he ends up turning himself into a candle. He burns himself so others can benefit. Or a match. In the end, he burns himself. So this nafsul lawwama comes, or this attribute of the nafs comes and tells a person that take it easy. You also need human interaction. You also need to eat. You also need to sleep. Your body needs these things. There's this desire to want to become normal again. And also on the other extreme, when the desires go very extreme, when a person goes beyond the limits in fulfilling their nafs and desires, a person inside starts to feel empty. This is the nafsul lawwama making this person feel empty and regret. And that is a very, very painful. And that pain, this is why we have in this society. People take drugs, people drink, they try to numb that pain. Alhamdulillah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the beautiful deen of Islam. We can come to the masjid, we can pray salah, we can numb out whatever pressure is outside. MashaAllah, we can sit in hadaqat like this and we have this sukoon here. In reality, all that pain we went through today or yesterday or this week, what do you feel now? It's all gone, right? Here you're feeling this, they have African word for it, hakuna matada, huh? Right? Where is this coming? This is this sakina, this itminan. But the people out there, they don't have that. Think of your colleagues at work and think of the others that you deal with every day. What do they have to numb out that pain? So what do they resort to? And this is the nafsul lawwama, trying to strike that balance, to keep everything in equilibrium. These are the qualities of the nafs. And each one needs to be understood and kept in check. This is why we have such a beautiful deen of Islam. And when the deen of Islam it is established, the whole of society will become a very, very moderate society. Ummatan wasata, very, very balanced. There'll be an equilibrium. On one side, you'll have the fulfillment of your desires within limits. On the other side, you'll have that angelic sense to want to have some level of seclusion, to want to have some level of serenity, to have some detachment from the world. That also within limits. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this beautiful deen of Islam has given us such a system that when it is followed and it is kept in check, a person can have a very, very beautiful life full of itminan and serenity and contentment. But when it is not followed, we see the problems that we have, where the world has come. Inshallah, we'll go much more in detail, just related to this basic concept. We will inshallah, try to complete this ayah and the coming ayat, inshallah. But these are concepts that need to be understood and in some level at the best, try to implement how to best fit into our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.